Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the stage. I'm here with Francois once again. Thank you, Francois, for joining us. It's a lovely fall day, depending on where you are geographically. But here in Ottawa, it's a rainy day. And rainy days are good because you get to stay inside and work on other things. So, anyways, just say hello to Francois. How are you today, Francois?
Really fine. Happy being your guest as usually.
Yeah.
So I'm hope you're doing great too.
Great. Okay, so today, uh, just full disclaimer, we're not exactly a scientific channel, but that doesn't mean that we're curious. So, speaking to Francois last week, we were talking about ideas for this week, like we normally do, and I thought, hey, it would be really interesting if we consulted an article that's a little bit more scholarly, because we say, well, there's a study done about this and there's a study about this, but we never really go into the details. That's not exactly what we're going to do today. However, I will put a link in the description from a study done by Sian Bylock. I'm not sure her last name here, so it's Sian L. Bylock and Thomas H. Carr. And the study talks about an experiment that was done with golf. And Francois will, dive into the details about that, and we'll talk about it. And what I want to talk about today is thinking versus doing. And, sometimes as a performer or as a creator, we stumble into paralysis by analysis or just overthinking things, which kind of lets us get results that are less than desirable, as they might say. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Just a brief talk about, how much thinking is required and how it affects us as performers when we go on stage and when we're put on the spot. And hopefully Francois and I could share some of our own experience using this article as inspiration. And like I said, in the description below, you can consult this article. It's quite a lengthy one, so not for the faint of heart here, but it will be there for your information. So, Francois, why don't you tell us what this experiment was and what they did?
Yes. So to be a bit more um, precisely, it was an experiment of psychology. So Sian Belloc was teacher in psychology in the Chicago University, and this experiment was in 2008, I think. Yeah. So Sian Belloc took a group of experiment golfers, and she asked them to do a putt. So for people they don't see what is a putt. A putt is when you are on the green, this last part on the golf field with the grass really short. How can you explain that?
Yeah, it's where the last part where the green, you go
Yeah,
on the part of the golf course that's extremely well kept,
yeah,
or just like a putting, putting
yeah,
green.
putting. But
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody knows what is putting. No, when your club just to the ball just rolling the ball and no, not big shot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she asked to them to do a putt in one time, to try to put the ball in one shot, and doing this putt really fast, without thinking, without analyze, nothing, just go on the field, just the ball, park, let's go. And after, she took a second group, the same experiment golfers too, and to this experiment golfers, she asked, take the time, analyze the situation, maybe the relief, how is it, with take the time to have a lot of concentration, and after you do your putt. And what happened, sorry, the people were really concentrated had less good results than the group who played really fast, without concentration, without analyze. So these results are already surprising. After she thought, okay, what can we do more? Why not take beginners? Some people say really don't know golf for just a bit. And we ask them to do the same thing. And the results are totally inverse. It's the opposite. So the group who played really fast had really, really less good results than the group would take the time to play with concentration, analyze, etc. So the question is, why is it? How is it possible? And I would say the conclusion of this study is experiment golfers with repetition, because they know they train every day with putting, and so the movement, the gestual is right in English, no?
Yeah, the movement, the repetitive
Yeah,
movement of what they do
is almost like an automatism. You know, if you are driving a car, you don't think more about turning how you turn your wheel, or I don't know, you just follow the road. It's like walking. Yeah, you don't think, you just, the movement is automatized. And for the beginners, they don't know. So if they play really fast, the body has no how can I say
no time,
no memories.
no memory. Okay.
No memories. So it's not good. But when they take the time, they can regulate, adapt, understand how to do, etc. So we understand the conclusion is, if you are really prepared, you can play good without thinking. But if you are not prepared, or you don't know what to do, you have to take the time to think, to analyze. So it's the experiment.
Yeah. So this is something that I think everyone has dealt with. I mean, not putting, but I think there are many parallels here that one can draw. Specifically, performing. You know, me myself as a professional trombone player, I have phases where you overthink things, and especially in the beginning of learning, let's say an audition program, where I'm totally concentrated on getting everything right. But then when I perform for people, I can't be so critical, and I can't analyze while I'm playing, because it's like I have to go forward, and if I'm looking back on what I did, it just ruins the flow of the whole performance. So it's a real challenge for, I think, someone who's experienced or is an adult, because at younger ages, I'm not going to generalize here, but I think when I can only speak from my experience really, but as a younger boy, it sounds really strange, but as a kid, I didn't think much, so I didn't really have time to worry about what was happening. But at the same time, I did a lot of mistakes, because one of the consequences of not thinking things through is that you throw yourself into situations not really knowing the consequences. But you kind of have to have a hybrid version of thought going forward. You have to behave like a kid when you're performing, or when you're doing something that maybe you think through, and not give yourself the time to rationalize what are the repercussions, knowing that there really aren't any if you're prepared, like Francois was saying. So let's do an example. If I have to perform, which I do on the weekend, I'm going to Holland for work reasons, and I have to perform there. But I've been I've been practicing for the last 2-3 months. If I put in doubt and question, and if I take my time to think how to do it at that point, I think some point down the line, or before, I doubted myself too much, like something went wrong in my preparation. So I think it's really important to know and be able to recognize when is the correct time to think about what you're doing, and when it's the correct time, and also recognize that time to sort of let go and just say, you know what, I'm going to do this because I can right now. Does that make sense, Francois?
Yes, totally. It's really that. So when you're practicing, it's really the time to think, okay, is it good or not? What can I change, etc. When in the time to perform, is the only thing you have to think is just to play, just playing, having emotions, transmitting emotions,
Yeah.
and having good time. Of course, you need concentration, but not being concentrate so long time before to play.
Yeah.
It's just playing with concentration
And one
and
more
not
yeah.
thinking, oh, yeah,
No, so I was just going to say one more thing. Sorry to interrupt you there, Francois, but this is directly parallel to our podcast, like you and like the stage, because I don't do any cuts here. And as I'm podcasting, I might fumble or I'll say or this or that. But if I start thinking while I'm talking, oh well, this should be like this or that, oh I should have, then all of a sudden I can't talk anymore. It just becomes, and when you talk to someone, hopefully, I think for me, you're not constantly being self-conscious. You're thinking upon what you said while you're talking to another person. That can be quite paralyzing, right? Because in the end, you're not paying attention to what he's saying or she, and you're not having a proper conversation because you're just focused so much on what you're putting out, and you're trying to be critical of himself. So another way to that we do this is just the podcast, because I don't edit this. This is all live. So anyways, go ahead. I just wanted to interject that.
yes. But to explain a bit, maybe with my own experience, before, I was really, really paralyzed with stage fright on stage. Well, it's a bit redundant what I said now.
No, no.
Yeah, so I had a lot of problem with that, and I was all the time during playing thinking, oh, okay, now next extract is a difficult passage. Okay, I have to be concentrated here. There is this high note, and okay, I have to control my diaphragm and oh shit. Now I did a mistake. It's like that because I
Yeah.
was thinking and I was not playing.
Yeah.
Uh, it's really the point. And now. I learned, with coaching and stuff like that, I learned how to be, or how being concentrate on my own emotions and just being really prepared. And when I'm on stage, no more thinking, just playing and being concentrate on my emotions and on my just good feelings. And it's exactly the same thing. It's no more the time to think. This experiment of Cian Belloc, is really, really interesting for that, I think, because maybe golfers, sportive and performers, it's approximately the same life.
Yeah.
We are practicing every day, hours per, a lot of hours a day, and finally we have just one moment. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's competition, golf competition, soccer competition, or music competition.
Absolutely.
What is different, or just an audition for theater? I don't know. What is the difference? You have just few minutes to do something better than the other.
Yeah.
And if it's not, but if you are thinking before, my God, I have just few minutes to do something better than the other,
Yeah.
you are already dead in the film.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. It's so true. So one other thing that I wanted to mention here, because we're talking a lot about what is this, thinking versus doing. And on here, I always want to give solution in my eyes. Again, I don't want to generalize, but things that have worked for me. So one thing that I use to get past this kind of mentality where you think too much or overthink actions and then end up not being so satisfied with what you put out is, well, there are a couple of things. The first step, I think, is accepting that you may overthink things so you can recognize what happens, because you have to see where you stand in order to improve. You have to know where you start, right? So I think that's a fundamental step, is accepting your sort of state, and if it happens, and be really courageous to accept that maybe you overthink things too much, why does that exactly happen? No one can know those answers really, except yourself. And you need to go out there and figure that out. The second thing is simplifying your actions. And this is the how part. So simplifying your actions, simplifying your goals to eliminate the opportunity for you to think. Someone was just asking me, uh, you know, how do you think, or what language do you think? And I just think in terms of actions, really. So when I'm playing, and instead of thinking I must do this, it just happens. Very action oriented. Just like if someone asked me, could you grab that glass of water? I don't think I will first raise my elbow, then extend my forearm, then grab the glass with my fingers, and then give this glass to that person a meter away. No way, right? Uh,
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. But you do that because you are trained to do that. You were a child and you tried and tried again and tried again, and now this movement is just natural for you.
yeah,
And with the music, with the trombone for you, it's exactly the same situation.
yeah,
You have to train and train and train again until you don't think no more.
yeah,
Just natural, and it's just an action. It's not a word in your head.
yeah. No, for sure. So getting comfortable with whatever you need to be comfortable with, like goal setting. I know my goals have simplified a lot more. The number of tasks, they just become like internalized, kind of like I always go to brushing your teeth because you don't really think much. I really think that's one of the most profound activities if you're a regular like toothbrush, because I don't think, like, when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm just like, I don't even think about it. It just happens, right? Twice a day, you grab your toothbrush and you just brush your teeth. It's like, so if you can get your goals or whatever you have to that point where it just happens, then I think that's a great way. So two things, in my opinion, is accepting where you are. And then once you've accepted where you are with this overthinking thing, perhaps simplify things to the point where less thinking takes place. Because let's be honest, Francois would, I think he agrees with me, like no one stops thinking ever. Like it's a good luck. At least for me, I say this, but I do think that it's a very difficult task and maybe not one to be completed ever. But we can lessen the effects of this overthinking paranoia, maybe, I think. So that's the whole point here. Is this article sort of sparked something to talk about, because there's obviously a parallel between sports, performing arts, anything that's really under pressure. That's why the stage. But that's really what I think. That's my 2 cents on how to get past this thinking versus doing. And so that's mainly what I wanted to say. But I know that this is a very complicated subject, and I know that it'll come back in the future. We're just touching the tip of the iceberg, and I'm pretty sure we spoke about this in a podcast before. So, Francois, do you have?
Yes.
Good.
Because I have some contradictions. You know me.
Yeah.
Because you were speaking about the glass of water. Yeah, you take a glass of water, and you are not thinking, I'm taking a glass of water at the same time. You are just doing it.
Right.
But and now you are saying we are never stopping to think, and this overthinking is all the time here. You can try to have a diminution of that, but it's never stop. And actually, you can't stop that for a few moments. For example, is to be conscient about what you are doing. What you are doing, being conscient about what you are doing, doesn't mean uh, analyzing what you are doing.
I
Do you
see what you
understand
mean.
what I mean?
Yes. Being conscious.
Is it
Yeah.
just being in the
In the moment.
in the moment.
Yes.
I recommend this book, really famous, Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Maybe you
Okay.
know that.
Yes, I've heard
It,
many,
it
many times of it.
it's a kind of Bible of that. Of course, you can think what do you want about that, but it's interesting for that. And actually, when you are playing, doing doesn't mean no more thinking. It means be concentrate on what you are doing, on the movement, but not being thinking about what you will do. It's a
Yes.
big difference.
Yeah.
When you are taking this glass of water, you are just thinking, you are just concentrating on what you feel, not especially thinking that my hand is going on the glass. I feel my finger on the glass, and the glass is coming to my lips, and I'm drinking. I feel the water in my throat, etc. But when you are doing that, you are not thinking, okay, I have to take the glass like that and move the arm like that. And like that, I can have water in my mouth.
Yeah.
Do you see the difference?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a
It's,
good point. Yeah, it's a
it's
very good point. Yeah.
here is the point. It doesn't mean doing without thinking, without uh, conscience, but just being in the moment. Being in this moment is the more important. I would to say that because I had the feeling maybe after at the end of this podcast our message wasn't really clear, and
No, that thank you for
yeah,
saying that because that makes
it
a lot
was
of
just my
sense.
feeling.
Yeah, no, thank you because I was getting a little lost in my train. I was just like, I feel like I drank 9 coffees this morning, so it's like I just want to keep talking because I love this talk, but it's like this type of thing that you can talk about for like hours and hours and hours, at least for me. Um, but yes, being conscious, it
Yeah,
means just being aware of what's going on. Uh, your thoughts are still there, but yeah,
exactly what I'm doing in coaching, in my coaching with my uh, I always say my coach clients, or
yeah,
we learn how to enjoy this moment with emotions, but not thinking about what is coming, but just thinking what happened, what are we doing, and how you said, if something happened, a mistake, it's already the past. We are no more thinking about that. You're already in the rest and the emotion connected with what you are doing. For example, the feeling of the water in your throat.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that.
Awesome. Well, I had a blast today. It was really cool, short but sweet. Uh, just by the way, a couple of information here. Please don't hesitate to comment below if you can, if you want. And then also, it's been about 2 weeks now that all these podcasts are now being uploaded automatically by this generous platform called Podbean that I use. Um, Directly to YouTube on my YouTube channel, and there's some other stuff there. And if you check out the Podbean website that I have, I'll put it also in the link in the description below with the link, so you can have a look. And I'm gonna try and post like every month, just like something sweet, like a meditation on the month. I think I did one for October, just to sort of start the month and see, on paper what I have to think. So, and if you guys have any suggestions as far as what you would like to hear, Francois and I are more than happy to accommodate and talk about just about anything relating to performance or self improvement. Just give us a shout and we'll be happy to talk about it. So, I'm gonna wrap this up in case you have anything other to say, Francois.
Yes, if you know the series Big Bang Theory,
The Big
um,
Bang Theory, right?
Big Bang
Okay,
Theory.
yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, no, of course, of course.
If you are all the time analyzing what you are doing and just learning but never doing, you are just a Sheldon.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, guys, and look forward to talking to you next time. Have fun, guys. Take care.
Bye.